Surely you have wondered many times, why are there people who are hardworking, good at studying, have stable jobs, and always know how to save, but their lives are still difficult and poor? Meanwhile, there are people who do not follow that path, are not too excellent in studying, and are not even very thrifty, but are rich and live a free life that many people dream of. This is the paradox of modern society that not everyone dares to admit. The traditional standard of success, studying well, working for a salary, saving and getting promoted, has long been considered the only way to have a stable and prosperous life. However, reality has proven that this is not always true. Many people do everything according to the book, work hard every day, but money is still tight. The future is still unclear. On the other hand, there are individuals who choose a different path, not pursuing academic achievements, not being bound by a strict frugal lifestyle. They can take more risks, experiment with new and different ways of doing things. As a result, they succeed, become rich, and enjoy a life of financial freedom. So what is the cause of this difference? Is the formula for success that society still passes on to each other really correct? Or is there a secret that most people have never been taught? It is the different way of thinking and acting, also known as reverse thinking, that is the key to opening the door to true wealth and freedom. Social norms offer a traditional path to success that most people are taught from a young age. Study well, get a high degree. Work steadily, save money, get promoted at work, and accumulate assets. It is a safe path but does not always lead to prosperity. Many people go on this path but cannot escape the cycle of difficult life and poverty. On the contrary, some people choose to be different, to take a path that few people dare to take in society. They are not afraid of failure, do not follow imposed standards. They dare to experiment and dare to go against the majority. They may not be good at studying or too frugal, but they know how to take advantage of opportunities, create new values, or change their perspective on money and life. For example, a friend who is not good at studying at school dropped out of school early but became a successful businessman with an effective online business model, while a friend who is good at studying struggles with the life of an office worker with a low salary. This shows that success does not only come from hard work and following traditional standards, but also from different thinking, perception, and actions. Imagine there are two young people in the same city, both starting from poor families. The first person studied very well, had a university degree, worked a stable office job, and saved every penny. The second person did not study well, was not very frugal, but knew how to exploit online sales opportunities, build a personal brand, and use social networks to develop his business. After a few years, the first person still only had enough to live on, saved a little money. The second person had a high income, increasing assets, and could freely choose his lifestyle. That is the effect of changing his thinking and actions, going against what the majority often do. Thinking against the grain is not easy to do because it requires you to dare to let go of deeply ingrained beliefs, to get out of your comfort zone. But if you are willing to stop, observe, and question the path you are on, you will begin to see a new door open, the door of different thinking, the door to wealth and financial freedom. The journey ahead will not teach you how to chase after money, but teach you how to change your thinking, actions, and choices. Because money is not about how much you make, but about how you think, how you act, and how you dare to go against the majority. Reverse thinking, the art of going against the current to make a difference and succeed in modern society. When most people follow the traditional formula for success, studying well, working hard, saving every penny, there is a group of people who choose to take a different path, a path that few people dare to take, and are sometimes even doubted and criticized. Those are the people who possess reverse thinking. What is reverse thinking? Reverse thinking, also known as counterintuitive thinking, is a way of perceiving, thinking, and acting that is completely different from the majority. People with reverse thinking do not necessarily have to run faster, work harder, but instead, they choose to go against the current. That is, go in a direction that few people take, a path that few people choose but is full of potential. Instead of following the crowd and doing what society has decided, they dare to ask different questions such as, why is everyone doing this? What if I do the opposite? Is there anything that has been overlooked or not exploited by anyone? What value can I create that others have not thought of? Inverted thinking is not blind recklessness, but the art of observing, understanding, and finding gaps in the market, thereby creating breakthrough and different values. Different actions create different values. People with inverted thinking know that doing more is not always better, and following the crowd is not the only way to success. Instead of rambling, they focus on one thing, do it deeply and professionally to the top. They do not try to please everyone but focus on making a group of customers crave and appreciate the value they create. For example, in the business world, when everyone is racing to reduce prices and run massive advertising campaigns to sell as many products as possible, contrarians choose to build their brands with emotional stories, sincerity, and commitment to quality. They do not sell products, they sell experiences, sell values that customers really need and desire. Contrarians, doubted innovators. History has shown that many of the world's richest people have been doubted, ridiculed, or even strongly opposed by society because of their contrarian thinking. Steve Jobs was considered eccentric when he developed the iPhone. Elon Musk was ridiculed for pursuing electric cars and space travel, and Richard Branson was looked down upon for daring to innovate the aviation industry. It is not because they are more talented or luckier than others, but it is their contrarian thinking that helps them see opportunities where others only see risks. They know that to create breakthroughs and sustainable success, you cannot just follow the beaten path, but must dare to be different, dare to challenge, and dare to innovate. Reverse thinking is a powerful tool to escape the safe zone of traditional thinking. When you just follow the majority, you will be limited in the same circle, the same way of solving problems, leading to the same results as others. On the contrary, by asking different questions, looking at things differently, you open up new options that most people do not notice. This is the untapped potential area where the greatest opportunities and successes exist. Reverse thinking does not encourage unreasonable resistance or disobedience, but rather the alertness to analyze, select, and act strategically, differently but effectively. Imagine a young man in London. While most of his friends are working hard to get jobs in big companies, he chooses to start his own business by building an online store selling traditional handmade products. While many people consider it a risky choice, he invests in thorough market research and focuses on building a distinct brand, targeting the right group of customers who love unique products. Although he started slower, after a while, he has built a loyal customer community, created a stable revenue stream, and earned a much higher income than those who followed the traditional path. Reverse thinking is the difference in how you perceive and act compared to the majority. It does not require you to do more, but to do the right thing, something that few people do, but has great value. It is this thinking that opens the doors to success that many people dream of. If you want to escape the vicious cycle of ordinary life, if you want to become a value creator and a breakthrough in your field, start practicing reverse thinking from today. That is the first step to open the door to success and sustainable financial freedom. An illustrative story of reverse thinking. A poor country boy and his stupid classmate achieve outstanding success in life. People who are good at studying and follow the traditional path do not always achieve great success. On the contrary, there are individuals who are considered stupid, do not have a university degree, and are even looked down upon by society, but can become rich and change their lives thanks to different thinking. The story of a poor country boy and his old classmate is the most vivid proof of that. A poor country boy with an unstable life. Imagine a boy born in a poor countryside, in a traditional family with a father who is a fisherman and a mother who sells goods in the market. He was taught to study hard, to follow a stable path that has been laid out, finish university, get an office job, save money, and hope that life will be brighter. He did exactly that, graduated from university, went to work in an office with a salary of 6 million Vietnamese dongs per month. The job was stable, but life was still precarious and difficult. He worked overtime until 9 p.m., always felt deprived and had no clear future. Every time he returned to his hometown, his neighbors praised him for being obedient and hardworking, but they did not know that behind that appearance were months of struggling, unable to escape poverty. Former classmate, the person labeled as stupid with unimaginable success. Meanwhile, his former classmate, who was once called stupid, had a vague education and dropped out of school, had a completely different future. Instead of following the traditional path of studying, he chose to drop out of school and work for a seafood warehouse very early. But what was special was not that he worked for hire, but his curiosity, daring to think differently, and especially daring to go against the crowd. While everyone was rushing to sell seafood at traditional markets, his old classmate saw a golden opportunity, selling seafood online, a relatively new business model in the locality. He started building a chain of online seafood stores, committed to selling only quality products, product warranties, and establishing a system of collaborators sharing profits based on revenue. Despite being ridiculed, doubted, and even despised by many people, he still steadfastly followed the direction he believed in. As a result, his monthly revenue exceeded 1 billion Vietnamese dongs. He became the owner of a large distribution system, creating jobs for hundreds of coastal residents, turning a dumb student into an admirable example of success. Profound lesson: the majority is often wrong. This story is not only a personal success miracle, but also a clear demonstration of the power of reverse thinking. When the crowd rushes down the same path, they often get stuck in old ways, not daring to challenge or innovate. They are easily limited by traditional concepts, and therefore find it difficult to create breakthroughs. On the contrary, those who dare to think differently, dare to take the small path, the path less traveled, are the ones who find the market gap and the biggest opportunities. They do not need to run faster or do more, but need to go in the right direction and be different. Reverse thinking here is the ability to observe the market, understand customer needs, and courageously choose the path that others ignore. Selling online when the market is still new helps old classmates take advantage of less competition and reach a wider customer base. In addition, building a system of collaborators also helps to expand the business network effectively without requiring large capital, without being limited by the scale of traditional stores. This is a difference in thinking and strategy, not due to education or pure luck. Many billionaires and successful entrepreneurs in the world have followed similar reverse thinking. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, started by selling books online while traditional bookstores still depended on the traditional retail model. He saw an opportunity in a new market that few people exploited. Similarly, Elon Musk with SpaceX and Tesla also chose to follow a path that most people considered crazy: electric cars and private space travel, and created a great revolution in the industry. The story of a poor country boy and his dumb classmates is a valuable lesson about the power of reverse thinking. It reminds us that success does not depend entirely on traditional degrees or hard work, but more importantly, on thinking differently, daring to go against the majority to seek opportunities. If you want to break out of the rut, don't be afraid to change your way of thinking and doing things. Look closely, ask different questions, and dare to take the road less traveled. That is the path to lasting success. How reverse thinking works: the secret to creating breakthrough value and sustainable success. In today's complex and ever-changing world, every event and phenomenon operates according to certain rules. However, most people tend to follow the beaten path, doing things the way society and the majority have set. This leads to the majority being limited to a repetitive cycle, making it difficult to make a difference or make a breakthrough in life and work. People with reverse thinking are different. They do not simply do everything blindly in reverse, but they start by asking profound and strategic questions in order to understand the nature and find the untapped gap. 1. The world operates according to rules. The majority follows the beaten path. Most of us observe and behave based on established models, long-standing social norms, from the way we study, work to the way we spend money and manage our lives. This creates a common loop, causing the majority to follow an old path, do the same things and expect the same results. For example, in business, when everyone focuses on a hot market, competes fiercely on price or product quantity, the market becomes saturated, profits are narrowed, and it is difficult to develop breakthroughs. This is the beaten path that most people follow, but very few people can escape. 2. People with reverse thinking ask, why do people do this? What if we do the opposite? Instead of accepting the status quo, people with reverse thinking always ask different questions, argue with the majority to find a new path. They are not simply doing things differently, but doing the right thing differently. For example, in a crowded market where online retailers are competing to reduce prices and advertise, a contrarian might ask, why not focus on quality and customer service instead of reducing prices? What if I create a unique shopping experience? Or in investing, when everyone is dumping stocks because of fear of risk, a contrarian might ask, if I keep my faith and buy more stocks at a low price, will I be able to take advantage of future growth opportunities? These contrarian questions help them see aspects that the majority ignore or do not dare to exploit. 3. Contrarian thinking is not recklessness but understanding the nature, finding market gaps. Many people mistakenly think that contrarian thinking is reckless action, doing the opposite of everything without thinking. In fact, reverse thinking requires a deep understanding of the nature of the problem, thorough research of the market, customer behavior, and potential trends. Reverse thinkers do not just do things differently, but do them in the right place, at the right time, in the right way. They take advantage of market gaps, unmet or underserved needs to create new value. In the traditional seafood industry, most sellers focus on traditional markets with small scale and little change. Reverse thinkers choose to sell seafood online, commit to quality, and build a system of collaborators to expand the scale. This is the way to take advantage of market gaps that most have not exploited. 4. Reverse thinkers create new value or redefine old value. One of the greatest strengths of reverse thinking is the ability to create new value or even redefine old value in a different way. They do not just sell a product or a service, but sell stories, experiences, or values that customers really need and desire. For example, when people only sell skin creams with formulas and features, reverse thinkers sell stories of regaining confidence, love, and health for customers. That is a way to redefine the value of the product into a deep emotional experience. Or in the field of online education, instead of just providing theoretical knowledge, reverse thinkers focus on building interactive courses, personalized support, helping students apply immediately and see results, thereby creating breakthrough value compared to the traditional market. The operating principle of reverse thinking lies in constantly questioning and challenging existing beliefs. This is not an impulsive action, but a strategic thinking process based on data, experience, and keen observation. By focusing on discovering what no one else has seen, inverted thinkers can create a sustainable competitive advantage and lead in their chosen field. Jeff Bezos saw an opportunity in selling books online instead of opening a traditional bookstore. He redefined the value of retail. Elon Musk did not pursue the traditional auto industry, but invested in electric vehicles and space technology with a breakthrough vision. Richard Branson founded Virgin Atlantic when other airlines were focusing on rigid processes. He created a flexible and different service. The operating principle of reverse thinking is not a magic secret, but the art of seeing, asking questions, and acting differently based on understanding the nature and finding market gaps. If you just follow the crowd, you will forever be limited. But when you dare to ask the question, what if we did the opposite? You are opening the door to breakthrough, success, and financial freedom? Start practicing reverse thinking to not only keep up with the times but also be a leader in the game of life. Contrarian thinking in investing. There is opportunity in danger. Lessons from steadfast investors. When the market fluctuates, negative economic or political news often makes many people panic, fear, and rush to run away from their investments. This is a very natural reaction, but it is also the time that creates a big difference between normal investors and those with contrarian thinking, those who see opportunities in the danger. 1. The reaction of the majority and the instability in investment. In the UK real estate market, every time there is news about Brexit, economic recession, or credit tightening policies, investors often worry and sell off assets, causing real estate prices in some areas to fall sharply. The crowd psychology at this time is often dominated by fear, leading to mass sell-offs, causing real estate prices to plummet and the market to freeze. This is a dangerous cycle. The more you sell, the deeper the price falls. The deeper the fall makes more people sell, too. Contrarian investors see opportunities when others run away. Unlike the majority, contrarian investors in the UK do not get carried away by emotions but always keep a calm mind. They understand that when many people run away, it is also when cheap investment opportunities appear. For example, during the post-Brexit turmoil in 2019, when many investors were worried about the future of the London real estate market and were selling off houses in the suburbs, some smart investors took advantage of the opportunity to buy at low prices. They believed that the real value of real estate was still solid and the market would recover in the long term. The story of Mr. James in Manchester. Mr. James, a British engineer living in Manchester, spent a long time saving money and looking for investment opportunities. When the Manchester property market was hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown measures, many people were selling their properties for fear of further price drops. However, James did not panic. He spent time carefully researching information about planning, infrastructure development, and population trends in the city. Realizing that many areas had the potential to increase in price in the near future, James decided to buy 5 houses at a price 30% lower than before the pandemic. After 3 years, when the market recovered, the value of James' houses more than doubled compared to when he bought them, bringing in significant profits. He not only preserved his capital, but also took advantage of the wave of strong growth in Manchester real estate, acting based on rules, not influenced by emotions. The important lesson from reverse thinking in investing is that you must rely on analysis, data, and understanding of the market instead of acting on crowd emotions. Fear and panic often cause investors to sell assets at low prices, while sober people can buy at bargain prices to create large profits later. Understanding the market cycle and maintaining a steadfast and patient mentality are key factors to take advantage of opportunities during a frozen or recessionary market period. Applying reverse thinking in personal investment. Keep a calm spirit and analyze objectively when the market fluctuates. Accumulate reserve funds to be ready to invest when asset prices fall sharply. Grasp the rules and long-term trends of the real estate market. Do not follow rumors or sensational news. Invest long-term. Focus on real value and development potential of the area. Patiently wait for the time when the market recovers to make a profit. Contrarian thinking in investing is not simply about being different from the majority, but about being alert, steadfast, and able to see opportunities in difficult times. There is opportunity in danger is the golden principle that helps smart investors take advantage of volatile market times to buy at low prices and build sustainable assets. If you can overcome the crowd mentality and act based on market rules, you will expand your opportunities to get rich and build sustainable financial freedom right in the real estate market. Reverse thinking in business. Sell less but win. The secret to building a sustainable brand and customer trust. In the modern business world, many entrepreneurs often think that to be successful, they must sell a lot of products, serve a lot of customers, and diversify their products. They believe that large quantities will help increase revenue and expand the market. However, in reality, this is not always the case. A much more effective strategy comes from reverse thinking, narrowing the market, focusing on selling the right products, the right customers, and telling a deep emotional story. People often sell a lot, but not deeply. In the traditional way of doing business, many people try to diversify their products to squeeze out every opportunity in the market. They expand their product portfolio from cosmetics to functional foods, from clothes to household items, trying to serve all possible customers. However, this spreading makes it impossible for them to focus on developing any product in depth, which can easily lead to a patchwork situation, inconsistent service quality, and difficulty in building a strong brand. Customers receive products as ordinary items, not deeply attached to the brand's value or story. Reverse thinking, narrowing the market, focusing on selling less but hitting the mark. People with the opposite mindset choose to go against the majority. They do not chase quantity, but focus on quality and depth in customer experience. They clearly identify the target customer group, find the pain points or real needs of customers, and provide the right products and services to solve that problem. Moreover, they do not just sell products, but also sell stories, emotions, and beliefs so that customers can truly sympathize and want to stick with them for a long time. The story of Emily, a cosmetics expert in the UK. Emily is a cosmetics expert living in Bristol, England. Unlike other cosmetic stores that sell a wide range of products, Emily chose a different path. She only focuses on selling a single line of high-end melasma treatment creams, but instead of just advertising the product's features, she built her brand around the story of healing and confidence. Emily tells the story of her own journey to overcome melasma, the difficulties, her lack of confidence, and how she found an effective solution. Emily's story touches the hearts of many customers, especially middle-aged women who are facing similar problems. She does not discount or run massive advertisements, but mainly conveys emotional value and sincerity through articles and shared videos. As a result, although the number of products sold is not as large as that of her competitors, Emily has still built a loyal customer community, steady revenue growth, and the brand is highly appreciated for its prestige and difference. Lesson analysis: deep and different build trust and brand. The sell less but hit strategy focuses on creating real value and deep emotions, instead of just chasing quantity. When customers feel understood, are told a true story, and feel confident in the product, they are willing to pay more, come back to buy many times, and recommend to others. Narrowing the market helps businesses focus resources, improve service quality, and develop the brand sustainably. The brand is no longer a generic name but becomes a vivid story, influential and connecting the customer community. Apply reverse thinking to your business. Identify the target customer group accurately who really needs your product, service. Choose the product, service that suits their deep needs. Don't be greedy to sell everything. Choose to sell what customers need most. Tell a sincere brand story. Share real stories, real emotions to make customers feel empathy and trust. Focus on improving quality and customer experience. Create a clear difference so that customers remember you as a trustworthy brand. Build a loyal community. Loyal customers not only buy but also recommend and create great word-of-mouth value. Reverse thinking in business, sell less but win, is the key to help you build a deep brand and create sustainable trust with customers. Instead of chasing quantity and diversification, focus on quality, story, and emotional experience. Then you will not only sell products, but also sell value, gain trust and loyalty from customers. If you want to step out of the cycle of chasing quantity, start thinking and acting in reverse thinking. That is the path to help you build a sustainable and different business in today's competitive market. Reverse thinking in personal branding. Dare to be real, to be trusted. The secret to building credibility and deep connections. In the current era of social media and digital media development, personal branding has become a key factor in building credibility, expanding influence, and developing a career. However, many people still mistakenly think that personal branding is a perfect, polished, and flawless image. In fact, it is the honesty, difference, and daring to tell real stories that help you leave a deep impression on the public. 1. No need to be perfect. No need to be fake. Need to be real and different. Today's audiences and consumers have become more sophisticated in perceiving truth and fakeness. They easily recognize overly painted images, empty words, and insincere PR tricks. On the contrary, a successful personal brand is one that dares to reveal the real aspects of the person with both strengths and weaknesses, failures, and everyday stories that everyone can sympathize with. This creates intimacy and sincerity, making it easy for customers or followers to trust and feel connected. 2. Telling failures, weaknesses, and real stories to create connections. Instead of just showing off their successes, people who build their personal brands with reverse thinking choose to tell their failures, difficulties, weaknesses, or challenging moments in life. It is these stories that touch the hearts of others, create empathy, and make them feel that you are a real person, not a glossy image online. 3. The story of David, YouTuber in the UK. David is a British YouTuber living in London, specializing in sharing experiences in self-development and entrepreneurship. Instead of building an image of a perfectly successful person, David chose to recount his painful failures, from business failures, losing tens of thousands of pounds, to times struggling with depression and disorientation. He shares practical lessons with sincerity and a friendly, unadorned voice. It is this honesty and daring to confide that has made David's YouTube channel quickly attract hundreds of thousands of followers in a short time. Viewers not only come to learn knowledge, but also find encouragement and inspiration from his true story. David has built a loyal community and developed a sustainable personal brand thanks to daring to be honest, to be trusted. 4. Lesson analysis. Brand is feeling and trust. Personal brand is not just a logo, image, or number of followers, but the feeling and trust that others have for you. When you are authentic, different, and tell a real story, you create a natural attraction that makes others actively seek you out. On the contrary, if you only follow the pattern, hide your flaws, or try to create a fake appearance of perfection, you will find it difficult to build deep connections and easily lose trust when exposed. 5. Apply reverse thinking to your personal brand. Dare to tell your real story. Share both successes and failures, strengths and weaknesses sincerely. Make a difference. Don't try to copy others. Be yourself with your own identity. Communicate intimately. Use easy-to-understand, genuine, and emotional language to connect with your followers. Build trust over time. Brands are not built in a day, but through long-term consistency and sincerity. Don't be afraid to show up. The courage to show yourself despite your shortcomings will make you trustworthy and likable. The reverse thinking in personal branding is to dare to be authentic, to be trusted. Instead of chasing after the perfect image and empty promises, be brave enough to share your real story, real weaknesses, and real experiences. That will help you connect deeply with the community, build lasting trust, and build an irreplaceable personal brand. If you want to step out of the cycle of fakery and build an authentic personal brand, start with your own story. That is the path to long-term success and real influence. Reverse thinking in system management and development. Let go to breakthrough, the secret to creating a breakthrough in business, in the modern business environment. One of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is taking on too much. They always feel like they have to do everything, have to control every single detail in the work, from production, sales to human resource management. However, this very thinking can become a major obstacle in the sustainable development of the business. A more effective thinking, or more precisely, reverse thinking, is letting go to break through, that is, knowing how to delegate, build systems, processes, and develop a team so that the business operates effectively without depending on any one individual. 1. No need to take on all the work. No need to control every detail. In the early stages of starting a business, many business owners feel the need to participate in every aspect of the work. They believe that only they can do the job properly, perfectly, and effectively. However, the reality shows that working too much not only makes you tired but also hinders the development of the business. When you take on all the work, from management, production to marketing, you will not be able to spend enough time focusing on long-term strategies or innovation. In this way, the business will easily make mistakes in management and find it difficult to develop sustainably. 2. Build processes, train staff, and operate systems effectively. The reverse thinking in management is knowing how to let go and focus on building systems. Instead of doing everything alone, you should build clear work processes, train competent staff, and develop systems so that all departments in the company can operate effectively and automatically. When you create an efficient operating system, you will be able to replicate value and scale without being limited by time or personal capacity. This system not only saves time, but also creates synchronization in all activities of the company, from production to customer care. 3. The story of Mark, cafe owner in London. Mark is a British cafe owner in London who used to do everything in his cafe. From making coffee, serving customers, to managing staff and handling all the small tasks, he believed that only he could do everything properly, initially. This helped him manage the cafe easily and control the quality of the products. However, after a while, he realized that the work became too much and he could not develop his cafe anymore. Customers coming to the cafe were unstable. Staff lacked motivation and everything was still at a basic level. Instead of continuing to do everything, Mark decided to change his approach. He started to build clear workflows for each department, from making coffee, serving customers to managing goods and training employees. Mark also created a management system with software to track revenue, expenses, and important indicators of the shop. After training the staff and establishing standard processes, he began to delegate responsibilities to his team. Soon, Mark's coffee shop began to operate more smoothly and revenue grew steadily. He was able to expand to more branches without worrying too much about controlling every detail. 4. Lesson analysis, replicating value and systematizing for sustainable development. The important lesson from Mark's story is the importance of building a tight operating system and delegating responsibility to others. When you build clear processes and systems, you can multiply value without having to do everything yourself. Systematizing every process helps you scale and maintain the quality of your products, services without being overwhelmed. Furthermore, when you empower competent people, you create a professional and efficient working environment where each employee can maximize their abilities. Your brand and value no longer depend on individual abilities, but on the systems you have built and developed. 5. Apply reverse thinking in managing your business. Create clear workflows. Identify necessary tasks, thereby dividing responsibilities for each department in the company. Training staff. Invest in training a team of competent and autonomous employees. Delegate and control wisely. Take the time to build systems. Then delegate work to capable people instead of doing everything yourself. Evaluate and optimize systems. Continuously test, evaluate, and adjust systems to ensure efficiency and sustainability. The reverse thinking in system management and development is not about controlling every detail, but about building a solid system, delegating work, and multiplying value. When you learn to let go and create an efficient, automated work environment, you will be able to break through and expand your business sustainably. Letting go to break through does not mean neglecting work, but learning to use smart systems to develop sustainably. Only when you know how to delegate and create processes can you scale and build a successful business in the long term. Reverse money thinking. Don't save, save assets. How to make money grow instead of keeping it in one place. In today's society, Most of us are taught that saving is the best way to get rich. Save as much as possible, from reducing spending to cutting out unnecessary expenses. However, a reverse money thinking believes that saving too much will limit your financial capacity. Instead of keeping money in a savings account or under your pillow, you need to know how to build assets. That is, use money to invest and create a continuous cash flow. 1. Saving too much is limiting. Saving assets helps money grow. Saving is a beneficial financial habit in many cases, but if you save too much without knowing how to invest, you will miss the opportunity to make money grow. Money in a savings account does not bring much profit, and in an inflationary environment, it can even lose value over time. The reverse thinking in financial management is to use money to invest in profitable assets, such as stocks, mutual funds, real estate, or potential business models. This helps you rotate money and create a continuous cash flow. Instead of just keeping money in one place, 2. Saving is not the only option. We have all heard the saying money makes money, but in fact, not everyone knows how to do this effectively. Investing properly can help you grow your assets more sustainably and effectively than just saving. However, investing also requires understanding and caution. You cannot just put money into an investment without understanding it clearly. Investing requires strategy, knowledge, and good preparation to be able to make a profit. 3. The story of Tom the Shipper, a British man starting a business from a small asset. Tom, a 28-year-old British man, started his job as a shipper in London. Every day, Tom worked from morning to night, running more than 30 orders, but his income was not high, only about £1,500 per month. However, Tom had a reverse mindset about money. Instead of saving all the money he earned, Tom decided to accumulate a small portion every day to invest in profitable financial products. Initially, he started with small investments in open-end funds and stocks of large companies in the UK. Although he only had a small amount of money to invest, Tom persevered and learned about investment strategies through books, online courses, and investment communities. After a year, thanks to the rotation of money, Tom earned a significant profit from his initial investments. Not only does he have a stable income from his job as a shipper, but he also receives profits from his investments, which increases his overall income. Another example is when Tom decided to invest in mutual funds when the stock market was hit by a small crisis. Instead of panicking and withdrawing his money, Tom continued to patiently hold on to his investment and increase it when the market stabilized. As a result, after 2 years, the amount of money Tom invested had tripled, giving him enough money to open an online store and start his own business. 4. Lesson analysis. Money must work, not be kept in one place. Tom's story is a vivid example of accumulating assets instead of saving too much. If Tom only saved the money he earned without investing, he would still be limited by his income from his job as a shipper and would not be able to break out of the cycle of working hard for a low income. Inverted thinking about money management helps you rotate assets instead of keeping them in one place. When money is used properly, it can generate profits and create opportunities for you to grow your finances sustainably. Saving only helps you have money to spend, but accumulating assets and investing properly is the path to financial freedom. 5. Apply inverted thinking about money to yourself. Start with a small amount of money. You don't need a large amount of money to start investing. Spend a small portion of your income on mutual funds, stocks, or real estate. Learn and study. Investing is not a game of chance. Take the time to learn. Learn about investment methods, financial strategies, and high-return investment channels. Rotate money. Don't let money sit idle in a savings account. Use money to invest in profitable assets to help you create a continuous and sustainable cash flow. Be patient and consistent. Investing is a long-term journey. Be patient and consistent with your investment decisions, especially when the market is volatile. Thinking in reverse about money. Don't save. Accumulate assets is an effective financial approach that helps you break out of the cycle of saving without generating profits, using money to invest. Creating a continuous cash flow and making money work is the way to help you not only protect your finances, but also grow your assets sustainably. Start changing the way you look at money today. Don't just save, accumulate assets and investments so that money can make money, thereby helping you build a strong and free financial future. Reverse thinking in choosing a career. Choosing a leveraged career. How to create passive income and build a brand. When it comes to choosing a career, most people look for stable, low-risk, and easy-to-do jobs. They may choose jobs that everyone around them is doing, or jobs with stable salaries and little concern about long-term development. However, while many people choose safe paths with few challenges and high competition, people with the opposite mindset choose more difficult jobs, but have the ability to multiply income and create long-term sustainability. 1. Choosing an easy career, low profit, high competition. We all know that one of the important factors when choosing a career is the income level. And when we choose jobs that are easy to do, popular, and done by many people, it means we have to face fierce competition. These jobs can be office workers, mass sales, taxi drivers, or factory workers. These jobs are stable, but have low profits, no strong development, and especially no ability to create passive income. These jobs are not bad, but if you only choose a simple job without the ability to expand, you will have to exchange time for money and cannot achieve financial freedom. Therefore, people with reverse thinking do not choose easy jobs, but choose jobs that can be replicated, create systems, and help increase income sustainably. 2. Reverse thinking people choose difficult jobs but can multiply income and build a brand. When choosing a career, people with reverse thinking will look for opportunities that can help them build a system and personal brand. Instead of doing simple and easy work, they choose more difficult jobs but have greater potential to create passive income. These jobs require creativity, leadership, and system building, but when you build a brand and a system, you will be able to create a passive income stream that will help you earn money even when you are not directly working. In fact, these jobs can be startups, building businesses, or building personal brands. 3. The story of Jack, British barber. Jack is a barber living in London who used to work hard in a small hair salon. He started his career as an apprentice, cutting hair for customers from morning to night, earning a not-so-high salary. Jack felt that this job was stable, but there was no opportunity to expand and develop. One day, while looking at his competitors in the same industry, Jack realized an important thing. If he continued to do this job alone, he would not be able to make a difference and earn a higher income. So, Jack decided to change his thinking and start building his own brand. Jack not only cuts hair, but also opens a chain of hair salons with standardized processes, helping customers experience consistent services at any branch. He not only works at the salon, but also creates online hair cutting courses and opens a YouTube channel to share his experiences with thousands of people who want to learn the profession. Thanks to building a personal brand, creating a system, and using online platforms, Jack has successfully created a passive income stream. His YouTube channel quickly attracted thousands of followers and has become a large source of income. The hair salon system has also grown strongly, no longer depending on Jack's personal efforts. 4. Lesson analysis. Choose a career with leverage to create passive income. The lesson learned from Jack's story is that building a system and personal brand can help you create passive income without having to work continuously. Instead of continuing to cut hair alone and having his income limited by his time and personal capacity, Jack built a system that helps hair salons run smoothly without him having to participate in all the daily work. Inverted thinking in choosing a career helps you look at work differently. Don't just do an easy job, but look for opportunities that can be replicated and expanded. These jobs may require you to learn new skills, Invest a lot of time and effort initially. But once you have built a system and a brand, you will be able to make money without having to work continuously. 5. Apply inverted thinking in choosing a career for yourself. Choose a career that can build a system. Look for jobs or industries that can help you build a system and replicate value. Create a personal brand. Build a strong personal brand and use online platforms like YouTube, Instagram to share knowledge and connect with customers. Invest in new skills and knowledge. Learn and invest in yourself so you can work effectively and grow in your chosen career. Create passive income. Find ways to create passive income through building systems and using technology that help you earn money even without directly participating in the day-to-day work. The reverse thinking in choosing a career is to choose a career with leverage, a career that can help you build a system and generate passive income, instead of just doing easy jobs. You should look for more difficult jobs that can help you develop your personal brand and scale. As Jack's story shows, when you have an effective system and a strong brand, you will be able to make money without having to work constantly. Don't be afraid to choose the difficult path, because that is the path to financial freedom and long-term success. The opposite way of thinking about weakness, using weakness as a weapon, the power of authenticity and difference in modern society. Everyone tries to hide their weaknesses. Everyone wants to show a perfect, strong, and successful image. However, the opposite way of thinking holds that weaknesses are not something to hide, but can be a powerful weapon to help you stand out and build trust with others. Instead of running away from imperfections, you can turn weaknesses into differences, thereby building your personal brand and connecting more deeply with the community. 1. Don't avoid weaknesses, but turn weaknesses into differences. In today's world, hiding weaknesses often becomes a common trend. We all have weaknesses, from appearance, communication skills to aspects of our personality. However, most people try to avoid admitting or sharing these for fear of being criticized or feeling weak. The opposite mindset encourages us to face and accept those weaknesses, and even use them to build our own differences. Instead of trying to be like others, find ways to turn what seems to be a weakness into a part of what makes you unique. The important thing is not that you don't have weaknesses, but that you dare to face them, accept them, and tell your true story to create a connection with others. 2. Tell real stories. Share personal experiences to build trust. One of the most powerful ways to turn weaknesses into weapons is through telling your own true story. Being genuine and emotional in your story can help others feel close and sympathetic. In particular, when you accept your weaknesses and share your true experiences, the listener will feel that you are speaking to them with sincerity instead of trying to hide or fake it. Telling the truth not only builds trust, but also makes others feel that they are not alone in life. When you share your struggles, failures, or weaknesses honestly, you will see that the truth is not something to be afraid of. On the contrary, the truth is the key to building long-term relationships and creating a trustworthy personal brand. 3. Emma's story, the British girl who used her weakness to build her brand. Emma is a young British girl who had a big speech barrier when she was young. She suffered from a congenital lisp, and when she grew up, she was often teased by her friends and people around her about her voice whenever she had to talk to others. Emma felt self-conscious and did not dare to express herself. However, when Emma started her career as a YouTuber, she decided not to hide her weakness, but instead, she decided to use her weakness as a weapon. Instead of hiding her lisp, Emma started sharing her real-life story, the struggles she went through, and how she overcame her insecurities to become herself. In each video, Emma not only talks about her skills or hobbies, but also shares her personal experiences of how she dealt with her insecurities about her voice and how society reacted to those weaknesses. She recounts the times she was teased, but also shares the moments when she learned how to turn her weaknesses into strengths. As a result, Emma's YouTube channel gradually gained love and support from the community. Her followers not only loved her for her talent, but also for her sincerity and ability to face her weaknesses with strength. Emma became an inspiration to thousands of people, especially those with similar weaknesses, helping them dare to face and turn their weaknesses into weapons. 4. Lesson analysis. The more real your weakness, the easier it is to create connections. The lesson from Emma's story is that the more real your weakness, the easier it is to create connections. When you dare to accept your weakness and share your real story, you will receive sympathy and support from those around you. Authenticity is the factor that helps you build strong relationships and personal brands without having to worry about being criticized. The important thing is not to avoid your weakness but to make it your difference. Sharing your personal experiences helps you build trust and shows that you are a real, trustworthy person. Weakness is not something you have to hide, but something that can create your uniqueness and appeal. 5. Apply the opposite thinking about weaknesses to yourself. Accept your weaknesses. Don't be afraid to face your weaknesses. Accept them and face them honestly. Share your real story. Tell your story honestly and share your personal experiences so that others can relate and create a connection. Turn your weaknesses into strengths. Find ways to turn your weaknesses into differentiators so that you can build your personal brand and make a strong impression on others. Build trust. When you share the truth, you will build trust and respect from the community, because people will see you as sincere and trustworthy. The opposite of weakness thinking, use your weakness as a weapon, is a powerful approach to personal branding. Authenticity and the ability to face your weaknesses are factors that help you not only build deep connections with the community, but also help you build a strong and trustworthy personal brand. Turn your weaknesses into weapons to shine, because your sincerity and uniqueness will create uncopyable strength. Don't be afraid of your weaknesses. Accept them and turn them into differences to achieve success in life and work. Reverse thinking in communication and conveying. The higher the level, the more simple, the power of clarity and approachability. In modern life, we often tend to think that extensive knowledge and highly specialized skills require complexity and specialized terminology to demonstrate intelligence and depth. However, the opposite thinking holds that the more profound the knowledge, the more it is necessary to communicate in a simple and easy to understand way. Simplicity is the pinnacle of sophistication, and the ability to communicate in an easy to understand way is what makes the difference between smart people and those who can have a great influence in life. 1. Reverse thinking in communication. The higher the level, the more simple. We often see that people who are good at their profession tend to use a lot of complex terms, especially in fields such as medicine, economics, and science. Although they may have a deep understanding of the issues, using too many specialized terms makes it difficult for others to access and understand important information. This is a communication mistake that many people make, especially those who have extensive knowledge but have not found a way to communicate in a simple way. Reverse thinking suggests that the better you are, the more you need to communicate everything in an easy-to-understand way. The ability to simplify information is an important skill that helps you communicate effectively with all audiences, from experts to ordinary people. Using easy-to-understand language and avoiding complex terminology will help your information reach more people and have a stronger influence. 2. Dr. David and the easy-to-understand way of doing medicine. A typical example of reverse thinking in communication is the story of Dr. David, a famous British cardiologist. David is one of the best doctors in the industry, with many years of experience in treating patients with complex cardiovascular diseases. However, he always avoids using complex technical terms when talking to patients. David found that although he could explain cardiovascular disease using complex medical terms like atherosclerosis or stage 3 heart failure, this left patients with a poor understanding of their condition. Patients without a medical background in particular often felt anxious, confused, and unable to make informed decisions about treatment. So David decided to change the way he communicated. He started using simpler language. Instead of saying atherosclerosis, he explained, "Your blood vessels are clogged, preventing blood from flowing properly to your heart. Instead of saying stage 3 heart failure, he simply described, "Your heart is not pumping blood effectively, like a clogged pump." As a result, David's patients not only had a better understanding of their condition, but also felt more comfortable talking to their doctors. This also makes it easier for them to decide on treatment because they have a clear understanding of their problem. Create passive income. Find ways to create passive income through building systems and using technology that help you earn money even without directly participating in the day-to-day work. The reverse thinking in choosing a career is to choose a career with leverage, a career that can help you build a system and generate passive income. Instead of just doing easy jobs, you should look for more difficult jobs that can help you develop your personal brand and scale. As Jack's story shows, when you have an effective system and a strong brand, you will be able to make money without having to work constantly. Don't be afraid to choose the difficult path, because that is the path to financial freedom and long-term success. Thinking backwards about the market, no need for new markets, just new perspectives, breakthroughs from looking back at familiar things. In life and business, we often tend to look for new opportunities in places that no one has set foot in. However, according to reverse thinking, real opportunities do not lie in unexplored markets, but in places that people have overlooked or have not viewed correctly. In fact, the way of viewing the market is the decisive factor to create breakthroughs and strong development. The question is, why look for new markets when you can create opportunities from what is around you? 1. Reverse thinking. Opportunities do not lie in new markets, but in new perspectives. The world of business and markets is always changing, and most investors and entrepreneurs want to explore unexplored markets to take advantage of opportunities. However, the opposite thinking suggests that instead of trying to penetrate new markets, you can look for opportunities in existing markets just by changing the way you look at them. What others overlook or fail to recognize may be potential opportunities. Not all opportunities have to come from untapped markets, but can be found right inside familiar markets just by finding a different perspective. Just like in everyday life, sometimes you just need to stop and look back in a different way, and you will realize the opportunities you have missed. 2. Tom's Iced Tea Shop in London. Let's look at the story of Tom, a man from London who took a completely different approach to a very familiar business model, the iced tea shop. Instead of following the traditional iced tea shop model, which only sells tea and soft drinks, Tom decided to create a unique relaxing space in the heart of the bustling city. Tom's Tea Shop is not just a tea shop, but also a place for people to find relaxation and tranquility between stressful working hours. He added special elements to the shop such as a small garden, a reading space, and comfortable chairs for customers. He provided a truly relaxing experience instead of just selling regular iced tea products. As a result, Tom's Tea Shop became a favorite destination for Londoners, especially those looking for a peaceful place to get away from the noise of the city. Instead of focusing solely on selling tea, Tom created a completely different business model, where tea is not just a product, but part of a relaxing experience. The lesson here is, the opportunity lies not in finding new markets, but in observing the current market, looking for gaps that others do not see, and changing the approach. Tom didn't need to open a brand new coffee or tea shop in an untouched area. He just needed to change the perspective of a familiar business model and make a difference by enhancing the customer experience. 3. Lesson analysis. Observe and choose a different perspective to create a breakthrough. The important lesson from Tom's story is to observe the market deeply and choose a different perspective to create a breakthrough. In a competitive world, differentiation does not necessarily come from creating a completely new market, but from creating uniqueness in the way you approach the current market. Observing and listening to the unmet needs in the current market will help you find potential opportunities. Instead of trying to compete with those who already have a market, you can create a new model from familiar things, as simple as changing the way you approach customers or improving their experience. 4. How to apply reverse thinking in business. Observe the current market. Don't look for new markets without understanding the current market. Take the time to observe what is happening in the market and look for gaps that others do not recognize. Take a different perspective, question what already exists, and find ways to do it differently. The way you approach an existing business model can create disruption, not by creating something completely new, but by improving what is already there. Differentiate. Don't try to copy successful business models. Instead, find ways to do things differently so that customers feel like you are providing a new experience. Innovate your approach. Find ways to add value to customers with services or products that they really need but are not being fully provided. Thinking backwards about the market, no new markets, just new perspectives, is a powerful strategy for creating business disruption. Opportunities don't always lie in unexplored markets, but can lie right in existing markets. What matters is how you look at the market and choose a different perspective to create uniqueness and competitiveness. Remember, in a competitive business world, differentiation does not come from creating something new, but from turning old things into new, from creative approaches and strategies that others have not yet seen. Look closely, choose a different perspective, and you will find opportunities that no one else has seen. Reverse thinking is not about creating something new, but about looking back at familiar things and creating a different solution to meet an unmet need. The final reverse thinking. Always ask, so what? The question that challenges all limits. In a world filled with social norms and rules, asking so what can be the key to unlocking breakthrough opportunities. Reverse thinking is not about blindly resisting, but about daring to challenge traditional beliefs, daring to ask questions that the majority have never thought of. This simple question can open up a new mindset, create new choices, and more importantly, lead to true freedom in life and work. 1. Reverse thinking. Dare to ask, so what? In our daily lives, we are taught to follow long-standing social norms and rules. We believe that the current way of doing things is right, and therefore, rarely challenge those beliefs. However, the most successful people in history have not only accepted the established rules, but they have dared to ask, what if I did it differently? Inversion is not about doing the opposite of everything, but about questioning everything you have been taught, questioning what seems right to find a different approach. This question not only opens the door to new opportunities, but also helps you look back at what you have been doing. 2. Richard Branson and the question, so what? The most notable story about asking the opposite question is that of Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Atlantic. Richard Branson, one of the most famous and innovative billionaires in the world, is a perfect example of daring to ask the opposite question to create companies and products that change the industry. In the 1980s, when the airline market was already quite saturated and controlled by big names like British Airways, Richard Branson asked himself the opposite question. What if I did something different? What if I gave customers better service and a more pleasant experience while other airlines were just focusing on cutting costs? With that question, Richard Branson founded Virgin Atlantic, an airline that not only provided flights, but also provided passengers with great experiences, excellent customer service, and luxurious spaces that traditional airlines had never thought of. His company took a completely different approach, competing not only on price but also on customer experience. As a result, Virgin Atlantic not only became one of the leading airlines in the UK, but also changed the entire airline industry, forcing many airlines to adjust their services. 3. Lesson analysis. The so what question opens new thinking. The big lesson from Richard Branson's story is that the so what question is not just a question, it is a tool that creates breakthroughs. When you ask this question, you will discover opportunities that no one has thought of, and sometimes this difference will lead you to unpredictable successes. Imagine if everyone just followed what they were taught without daring to ask again. How many great companies, innovations, and products would not have been born? The so what question is a tool that promotes creativity, and if you dare to question everything, you will be able to create new options new paths that others have never thought of. 4. Applying reverse thinking to life and work. Question everything you have been taught. Don't accept everything as true just because it has existed for a long time. Question your beliefs and look for ways to improve or create something new. Don't be afraid to challenge conventional beliefs. Don't be afraid to go against what everyone else is doing. Challenge what seems right and try a different approach. Discover opportunities in saturated markets. When everyone is rushing in the same direction, stop and ask what you can do differently to create new opportunities. The biggest opportunities are often hidden in markets that people have overlooked. Inversion thinking. Always ask, so what? Is the tool you use to discover breakthrough opportunities in your life and work. This question not only helps you challenge conventional beliefs, but also helps you find new approaches to achieve great success. Billionaires and successful people never accept what is. They always question what already exists and from there create new options that others do not think of. Start asking the opposite question in your work and life. When you dare to ask so what, you will find that new opportunities and options are waiting for you in places you never thought of. Conclusion 1. Contrarian thinking, a different life strategy. Contrarian thinking is not a revolution or a rebellious approach. It is simply daring to question and challenge conventional rules. People who possess contrarian thinking are not always the smartest, the richest, or the strongest, but they have one thing in common. They always know how to look at problems from a different perspective. For example, while most people rush into the real estate market when prices are high, people with contrarian thinking will find ways to exploit opportunities when the market falls into a difficult period. They see potential opportunities while others are afraid and retreat. Instead of being afraid of failure, they use contrarian thinking to turn fear into opportunity. 2. Wealth and poverty are not just about luck or hard work. One of the most important things that inverted thinking brings is the realization that wealth and poverty are not just about luck or hard work. Of course, hard work and effort are important factors, but not everyone who works hard will be successful. What is more important is how to look at problems, act differently, and make the right choices. Think of famous people like Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Group. He was not the smartest person in the class, nor did he start with a huge amount of capital. However, his difference was in his inverted thinking. He always asked the question, what if I did something different? Instead of following what everyone else did. It is this thinking that has helped him become extremely successful in many different fields, from airlines to tourism, and even consumer goods. 3. Invite you to practice reverse thinking to change your life. We all know that success does not come from following the crowd, but from creating different values and daring to act in ways that others do not dare to do. However, to do that, you need to practice reverse thinking. Start by asking the question, what if I do the opposite? You will be surprised at the opportunities you can recognize when you dare to get out of the rut and try a new approach. By learning from reverse questions, you can find opportunities that others do not recognize. Successful people never stand still. They always find ways to make a difference, challenge traditional rules, and seek new perspectives in work, life, and investment. Subscribe to the channel to receive more valuable knowledge. We are living in a world full of opportunities, but opportunities only come to those who dare to ask questions, dare to change their thinking, and dare to act differently. If you want to change your life and break out of the rut, then reverse thinking is the life strategy you need to have. Start your journey today. Don't just listen to the usual advice. Ask yourself, what if I did something differently? And to not miss out on valuable knowledge that will help you develop reverse thinking and succeed in life, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you can receive more videos with unique skills and strategies that will help you achieve freedom and long-term success. Reverse thinking will change your life. Reverse thinking is a life strategy that you cannot ignore if you want to achieve significant achievements in life. When you start asking the opposite question, You will realize that everything around you can change just by looking at and acting differently. Practice reverse thinking, and you will see that opportunities and freedom are not far away, but right in front of you. If you really want to change your life, start by thinking reverse and acting differently. Don't wait for opportunities to come to you. Create opportunities by thinking differently and doing differently. Opportunities are always present in places you least expect, and reverse thinking is the way to help you discover and take advantage of those opportunities.